Okay, class, for this week's assignment, like I said, we're starting in groups. We'll be using this website, cohesioncase.com. Everything you do in here is, I have to tell you that this case is kind of dated. Some of the stuff they talk about in it here and there just doesn't even hold true anymore. But the concepts of technology and that are happening are the same. So they might talk about something like Second Life. Well, Second Life came and went and it's dead and no one's using it. But there are other social media sites like YouTube and Facebook and all these other ones that companies are using. You got Etsy and all these new ones that are happening. So those are things that you would want to look at instead of the exact stuff that they're doing. Anyway, let me show you how this case works. This is the overview, the about the site, and all that stuff. You can actually see diagram components by clicking here, or you can just go over here. You might want to read the cohesion case overview. That is actually tells you about what this is. Just to give you a brief idea, it's a mom and pop coffee shop that existed, and the grandchildren or grandson or whoever is taking it over and is trying to bring it up to date. If you look here, they're still running as if they started in 1952. So a lot of things just aren't there. So anyway, we're going to use it, and we're going to look how to use technology to gain competitive advantage, build new business strategy. These are the things that we're going to look into, okay? Your textbook's going to be a great resource. I will be putting quizzes out there in relation to the text. So you will be using the textbook for doing the quizzes, which will get you opening it and thinking about it as you're doing this cohesion case in your groups. So you will have quizzes and you will have the cohesion case. My goal is to not inundate you with a boatload of work. I would rather have you have a good learning experience than just be inundated with way too much work, especially during a short class like this. So anyway, let me get into this and show you how this works. If I go to cohesion case diagram, this week, the sections that you're going to be doing are going to be the networks and telecommunications and wireless computing, the ethics, and the security. When I go to security, for instance, I can look and it says, oh, here's a business dilemma. You can read the brief overview and you go to business dilemma and you read it, and it says you decide to research anti-spam software, antivirus software, and anything else you can find to help protect your PC. In your search, you find this following quote, and do you agree or disagree with this quote? Well, that's a pretty straightforward question. Anytime I see something, do you agree or disagree? That's not enough for me. I want to know why you agree or disagree. Okay? So that's okay. So there's business dilemma. Then you go to making business decisions one, and they have different things they want you to do. Okay? So they want you to actually, what if you lost your thumb drive that contained all your personal information? So you read this, and then you discuss how you would handle that. Then you go to two, how would biometric payment system help? What advantages could the cafe gain by implementing a biometric payment system? Keep in mind, biometric payment systems, that's like using your thumbprint or your retina scan or something like that. So you could still look at that. You know as well as I do that one of the things that they really started doing though is like PayPal and Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and all those as a new way of simplifying payment. But you can talk about the biometric payment concept if you want, or you can apply a different concept. You don't have to do biometric, okay? And that goes with all of this. If you have new technology that you're considering and stuff, you can talk about that. You can add that. You don't have to go by what this says. You just have to address the concept and issue, okay? So then you go to apply your knowledge, and there's more to do, okay? Something like this, install a personal firewall, stuff like that, this section here, you might consider, and when I say this, something like this isn't something that a small business owner is going to do for themselves. This is something that they would probably outsource. So that might be a suggestion, is to have them outsource for this. Instead of going through and doing this all by themselves, you know, maybe they actually outsource this instead. Or maybe part of your wireless and technology setup is that instead of having your own server and everything else on premises, you actually go with something like Square or Clover that is just pretty much a dumb terminal that's connected to the internet, and it's software and hardware as a service. You're paying a monthly fee and maybe so much per transaction or what have you. But all of this stuff that's on this page tends to be done by them on their end, not by you. Okay? So that might be something that you discuss instead of how do you install all this and who is going to do this and what are you going to do. So I would actually have a discussion on that sense. When you go to, was that ethics or security? Let me look. I can't remember. Okay, that was security. If I go to ethics, now you start looking and, create a document discussing how net neutrality could affect. Net neutrality is something that kind of fell off to the wayside for a while and no one was talking about it. And under the new governmental leadership that we have, they actually took us backwards on net neutrality. There were some executive orders in that have brought net neutrality back into the foreground of thought. So this actually does pertain now, where it didn't a few years ago. So anyway, you're going to want to look at that and see if there's any way of helping yourself with all that. Okay? And if you go to apply your knowledge, did I go there? This one, you discuss how you would handle that. A lot of the stuff is policy that you would create, stuff of that nature. You know, like terms of use agreement or what have you. And also, like, how do you report things? You know, training issues. Are you going to have a security system that actually has cameras in that? I don't know. That's up to you. Okay. In here, you know, Bronner is offering a rather large sum of money for the email addresses and phone numbers of all customers. You know, where do you guys stand on that? You know, explain it to me. You know, what do you do? Business dilemma. Receiving a highly inappropriate joke from a fellow employee. There are certain things that I would ask in a situation like this. It'd be like, okay, did it happen on company time? Did it happen from company technology, such as company email address? Was a company computer used? Was it done on a person's personal phone? Is it personal communication? Because if it is, that might not even be my concern, right? This is an area where I want you to talk about it, but you really have to think about how you're going to handle it. Okay? And then the other section is the networks, telecommunications, and stuff of that nature. So when you go through this, they're talking about things like sensors on the bottom of cups and stuff. What types of technology would you invest in? Okay? And follow those questions. What types of coupons? How would you handle discounts? How would you handle reward systems and stuff like that, right? Now I mentioned like Square and Clover, and there's others out there that are POS systems that actually do have customer relationships management. They have some supply chain stuff in them. They're kind of like a mini ERP system, but they also have reward systems in that you can build into them. So maybe that's part of that package. I don't know. This is something that you guys have to talk about. And here, develop two new products using network, telecommunication, or wireless tools to create new revenue streams for this, such as burning CDs. No longer something of value at this point. One really cool thing, you might not burn CDs, but I'm not sure what it would take to actually create records, actual vinyl. It's something you would have to look up. But something like that, it would be kind of a niche market for I'm going to use an old word, hip coffee shop, where you're looking for a very specific type of clientele, some people that are audiophiles that are actually listening to old vinyl and stuff. They might actually pay to have come into your store and take a CD and put it on vinyl. Who knows? So, those are things to think about. But using technology, figure out new ways to make money and then apply your knowledge. You can read this and everything. So, anyway, I hope I gave you an idea of what I'm looking for. I want a document that is college level writing. I don't want a lot of bullet points or anything. I want actual paper quality, I guess, college level report type writing. It doesn't have to be a major research paper or anything. A lot of this stuff is just explaining what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you have sites and stuff that you use to study this stuff, include that at the end. I'm not going to worry that much about in-text citations over this short period, but at least at the end or in your document somewhere, when you're done talking about something, just throw the web address in there at least, okay? Hopefully that helps you understand that. And I will get the quizzes out there, and that'll be that. Thank you.